Imagine you wake up as a Saiyan in the world of Dragon Ball, with all its dangers, enemies, and as the name suggests, the Dragon Balls. 7 spheres, if brought together, can summon the dragon Shenlong, who has the power to grant you one wish. I will try to become the strongest and unlock all possible powers and forms as a good, or at least semi-good, Saiyan. For this challenge, I installed the most famous Dragon Ball mod for Minecraft, Dragonblock C. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. But now, enjoy the video. My journey started in a plains biome. I quickly created my Saiyan I'm going to play and charged up for the first time to get ready. This is kind of a blind run. I never played Dragonblock C before and just tested whether everything was working as it should. I started by collecting some meat, and my first goal was just on the horizon, Torrent's Tower. I collected some wood for tools, and on my way to the tower I discovered these unique crystals, which could be crafted into nice looking battle armor. Arrived on the tower, I talked to Korin and got myself my first senso beans, as well as Kinto-un. I was still too weak to learn something from him, so I jumped on Kinto-un and ascended to Kami's lookout. On my arrival, I talked to Kami, but he too couldn't teach me a thing, because I was still too weak. So I decided to start the main quest. The first quest was to find and talk to Muten Roshi, so I did just that, and it took not very long to find him. Back on mainland, I realized it was quite bright for being nighttime. I realized the full moon shining on me. I stayed a bit too long in the moonlight, so I quickly transformed in my Ozaru form. Looks pretty dope if you ask me, especially with the battle armor. The first quest opponent was Yamcha, but I think we all know how Yamcha does things. The Pilaf gang too had no chance against the giant monkey, and maybe Pilaf had no Dragon Balls at hand to wish me smaller, and so he tried to become my size in his own transformer. But even combined, I turned their little toys into scrap metal. The next arc was the Tenkaichi Budokai. And what should I say? I punched my way through the tournament like a knife through butter. Is that the correct way of saying it? I don't know, but it was easy. After my special time with Jackie Chan, I could enter the Red Ribbon Saga. And even in this saga, many of the enemies lost their head quickly. I decided to take a little break and flew to Kami's lookout to get myself some new skills and a senso bean. I knew it wouldn't stay that easy, so I collected some meat to get more healing options. And while I cooked everything edible, I continued the Red Ribbon Saga. And this was the first time I began to feel an increase in the strength of the new enemies. General Blue nearly defeated me. Tao by Bio too was quite a threat, but he also fell in the end. I took down a few more enemies, but to advance further in the story I had to train. And I heard the best way to do just that was in the Hyperbolic time chamber. But first I talked to Vegeta to buy the power ball, so I could transform into my Ozaru form at will. Arrived in the time chamber, I started with Shadow Diving training. In this kind of training, I had to fight this man to get training points. There were another 2 possibilities of training. One way would be airboxing, and the other was concentration. I bought the rest of Kami's abilities, got another sensu, and continued the main quest with this invisible guy.
Kamehameha!
A Kamehameha brought him to his knees.
Kamehame! Kamehame!
The other opponents of the, I think it's the Uranai Baba saga, were no problem, even Grandpa Gohan. A slightly stronger Yamcha greeted me in the next arc.
Kamehame!
But yet again, all the enemies were no serious threat. Until I ran into Tianjin Han. And after some juicy punches, he fell too. After all this fighting, I had to refill my supplies, so I slapped some piggies. Before I faced my next enemies, I wanted to train a bit. Kami gave me some weights, and I wasted no more time. Then it was time to start the Piccolo saga.
Kamehame! 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 Kamehame!
They had a hard time against me, so I dealt with them quickly as well.
Kamehame!
To get a bit safer for the upcoming dangers, I revisited the Hyperbolic time chamber to kick some shadow dummies where the sun wasn't shining. And get some skills from Trunks and Piccolo, only to get back to training. I decided to visit Gohan and Goku, but they didn't have anything of interest. So the next opponent was Robotao, and how do I say it nicely? I sneezed and he collapsed.
Kamehame!
It was nearly the same with Jen and Piccolo. Even when he thought he grew up, but bigger doesn't always mean better. And that meant I was ready to begin the Saiyan saga. The Cybermen were annoying but not very strong, and Raditz ignored me at first. I wasn't sure if I could handle this much rejection. But I punched his fancy glasses right out of his face. After I defeated some more Cybermen, Nappa and Vegeta finally appeared. I decided to befriend them by showing them my Osaru tail, but they got a bit too intrusive, so I showed them their place. Vegeta dropped a spaceship, so I placed it and randomly pushed every button I could find. That made the ship go off. I landed on the distant planet Namek and found the elder of the locals, but he couldn't teach me things I didn't know already, so I blew off some steam on the Frieza. I continued with Frieza's stronger minions and punched them kitchen ready one after the other.
Kamehame!
Even the Ginyu Force was no serious threat. And then I finally faced Frieza in his first form. He quickly changed through his forms, and each time he forgot I was still around. He must be related with fruit flies. After a fierce fight, victory was mine. And then I tried to transform into a Super Saiyan for the first time, and to my surprise, I even turned into the legendary Super Saiyan like Broly. Back on Earth, I decided to train my new form and increase my power even further. In the end, I looked as white as Markus Rühl. There was another thing I wanted to try. I was even able to transform into a golden Ozaru. And a green one too. So I continued charging up. And then I transformed into Super Saiyan 4 for the first time. In my new form, the fight against the Frieza force was like a relaxing walk in the woods on a sunny day. In the fight against Mecha Frieza, a little oopsie happened because I wasn't careful enough about my ki output. When it ran out, Frieza quickly took me down, while I was running away like Mahito from Yuji after their battle. So, I transformed into my Super Saiyan 4 and decided to visit King Kai. He taught me all he knew, and then I made my way back to get revived. And then I got my revenge on Frieza. King Cold asked me to be his new son, but as I refused, he got really mad. But at least I was nicer to him than Trunks in the anime. Next was the Cyborg Saga. Android 19 and 20 were my first encounters. But I took a bit more damage, so to be safe I made a little break. Android 18 and the first form of Cell again brought me near to the end. So my next holidays took place on Namek to hunt some dinosaurs. After I cooked 16 and 17, Cell's second form got jealous because all the androids came to me instead of him, where he could absorb them. Even though he didn't absorb any androids, he transformed into his final form. And the ignorant squid forgot I was still around, so I remembered him. Cell was still too powerful, so I had to back off for now, and, you guessed it, train. And now I was ready to face him. After the fight against Cell, I decided to snack some skills by with the God Form and Ultra Instinct. I needed more meat, so I returned to Namek to hunt down more dinosaurs and meanwhile figure out how to use Ultra Instinct. It turned out I had to be low on health to use it. And to master it, I had to be even lower on health and had to endure the pain status at least once. So, while I waited, I decided to summon Shenlong.
You have awakened the dragon, and so you will be granted one wish. What is your desire?
I wished for those tier 1 tech chips. And then came the moment. I finally tapped into the mastered Ultra Instinct.
Kamehame!
In this form I was so OP, so I tried to master it even more before I progressed in the main story.
Kamehame!
The Buu saga began as easy as the Cell saga ended, even without Ultra Instinct. But for Dabura, I decided to go the safe route.
Kamehame!
For Fat Buu, I turned into Super Saiyan 3.
Kamehame!
And the other forms of Buu got victims to my Super Saiyan Blue evolution form.
Kamehame! Kamehame!
Only for Kid Buu I turned into Ultra Instinct again. And this already brought me to the Beerus saga. Beerus and Whis were no threat. And now it was time for the Resurrection F saga. They pretty much one-shotted all of Frieza's minions. And even Frieza got down quickly, no matter his form. I lost no time and started the Universe 6 saga with its weaker opponents, like Frieza 2.0. But yet again, I decided to train a bit for the stronger opponents and get the missing God of Destruction form from this. The next fight against Hit was intense. He nearly took me down. Fortunately, I had a Senzu Bean left. I tried to take on Beerus in his costume as equals. But it turned out we weren't equals. So I showed him something I couldn't do and transformed into Ultra Instinct. Before I used Götterspeise Vegeta as my punching bag. For my non-German viewers, Götterspeise is jelly or some kind of jelly. He thought he could beat me if he changed flavors, but that obviously didn't work. And then I had to face Goku Black. I tried to fight Goku Black in his Rosé form without UI, but he defeated me 2 times. in UI, both Goku Black and Zamasu were no problem. But fused Zamasu was a big problem, so I tried to get stronger. And when I had to wait because I got kicked out of the Hyperbolic time chamber, I recognized a button that opens the menu to make custom attacks. It speeded things up a bit. That big boost in power made the fight against Zamasu and hit very easy. Whis teleported me to the arena where the Tournament of Power took place to fight Universe 6 fighters. Basil wasn't that strong, but I can't tell you why I messed up and let him defeat me. So I returned to defeat the other members of the Trio of Danger. At last, I played a bit with Topo. The first fights for the Tournament of Power were against Gohan and Krillin, no big deal. At the Tournament of Power itself, I dealt quickly with the Trio of Danger all at once. The Saiyans of Universe 6 were no serious opponents as well. Even against Dispo, Topo and Jiren, in their normal forms I felt quite overtrained. Kevlar was at least able to land some hits against me. And Toppo in his God of Destruction form only looked scary, but was in fact a very kind guy. Jiren also wasn't that tough. Maybe I should have handled him more like Frieza did, to tickle his anger out of him. So that's the end of my journey. I hope you liked the video, tell me in the comments, and if you did, feel free to like and subscribe. See you!